Hi, I'm John from Just Whiskey. If you like today's show, please click like and subscribe. And speaking of subscribe, I really appreciate all the new subscribers that are coming on board. I really appreciate the support. And remember, no matter how much it costs or how good it is, it's just whiskey, folks. A quick recap on my previous review, which was the recent Lafroig Carchis Pedro Jimenez finished cask strength. I spent a little more time with it, and I am noticing more of the sherry notes now, the cocoa, especially on the nose. A prominent cocoa note. And I think this is probably the first time that I'm just going to tweak that score from that. I scored the Lafroig Carchis between an 86 and an 88. I'm just going to tweak it a little bit and put it more in the range of 85 to 87. I still enjoy it. I am picking up more of the sherry notes, but it still is a bit one-dimensional. And for that reason, I just wanted to tweak it just a notch, put it a little more in perspective. Not something I do very often, but I felt like adjusting the score just a little bit on that one. Quick shout out to Flat Cap whiskey reviewers. And today we're going to be talking about Craigallachie13 versus the Clynelish 14. Now, I've done a previous review on the Clynelish 14 and I was gushing over it. I absolutely love it. So we're going to be focusing more on the Craigallachie 13, but we are going to compare it. So, Craigallachie 13 is a Speyside, 13 years old, 46% ABV, clearly stated on the back of the bottle, non-chill filtered. No mention of coloring. The Clynelish makes no mention of the chill filtering or the coloring. However, in my opinion, I don't think it's chill filtered, or if it is, not much, if that makes sense. Only because when I've kept it out in the glass for a period of time with a cover over it, it does get cloudy. And a bit of Scotch mist. That's just my opinion on that. But the Craigallachie 13 clearly states non-chill filtered. No mention of coloring in either one of these. The colors are identical, if you ask me. I've held them up to the white concrete in the back. They are almost identical in color. I don't know if that's a coincidence. I normally don't read the back of labels too often, but this one I am going to because I think it's relevant. Craigallachie 13, they also make a Craigallachie 17, and they also make a Craigallachie 23. From what I've been told, mostly through other video whiskey tubers, is that although the 17 is a fine dram and the 23 is probably even a little finer, the general consensus seems to be that they're not worth the extra money. We'll get into that a little bit later. So, back of the label. In 1891, a whiskey expert noted that the Craigallachie represented a style of whiskey seldom met with now, which we took as a compliment. Today, we still use old-fashioned worm tubs to cool our spirit and bestow it with extra flavor, creating a dram to rival whiskies twice its age. A worm tub is a large copper tube sitting in a large tank of cold water which snakes back and forth and gradually gets narrower. In 1891, many distilleries condensed their spirit this way, giving their whiskies a distinctive, meaty character. Craigallachie is one of very few still benefiting from this traditional technique. And there's a little picture of the worm tub, little graphic there, which kind of puts it into perspective. So I would agree that I'm going to call this review, Clynelish versus Craigallachie, the beauty and the beast. Clynelish 14. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about it. I've reviewed it thoroughly in a previous review, but what I like about Clynelish 14 is right off the bat, on the nose and the palate, you pick up these fruity notes that I really don't find unless you get into older age-stated whiskeys, like 17, 18, 21 years old and up. So for that reason, I find the Clynelish 14 very impressive. The Craigallachie, it is a much dirtier, beefier, a little more robust than the Clynelish. Craigallachie, you pick up the fruit, but it's a deeper candied fruit, whereas the Clynelish is a lighter, more effervescent fruit, lighter fruit on that. You get deep candied fruits on the nose, a little bit of licorice on the nose, and both of those on the palate as well. On the palate, it's when I say robust, in comparison to the Clynelish, it's more robust, but it's very mellow on the palate. I think the Craigallachie 13 needs a little bit of time to open up. That's been my experience. Whereas the Clynelish, right out of the gate, has been consistent. But I found that the Craigallachie has opened up. The finish on the Craigallachie 13, you get a dry finish and a slight bitterness, a noticeable bitterness, in fact. The finish, I would say, more in the medium range, and the Clynelish, I forget what I said last time, but medium to medium long on the finish. Craigallachie, I'd say more on the medium finish. You definitely feel like you're drinking a whiskey of distinction. The quality is there. I think it's probably a little more. It's got a little more complexity, just a little more complexity than the Clynelish. The Craigallachie 13 retails between $55 to $60 in most places. The Craigallachie 17, you're only going up 4 years, and you're going to pay $100 more on top of that. You're going to be paying $160 for the Craigallachie 17, and the Craigallachie 23, you're going to pay add another $100 to that. So you're talking anywhere between $280 to $300 or so for a Craigallachie 23. I would love to try them, but again, the consensus seems to be that although they are better, they may not be worth paying that extra money for that slight increase in the experience. Whereas the Clynelish retails anywhere from $50 to $70. So they're a year apart. You know, when they say Clynelish 14, you can taste some, in my opinion, some older whiskey in this. Maybe it's just this particular bottling of this batch, but I am definitely tasting older spirit in my opinion. So in the past, I rated the Clynelish 14 between a 90 and a 92. I'm going to rate the Craigallachie 13 between an 88 and a 90. I think it's great value for money. I think it's a quality product. But for my palate, I'm going to declare the Clynelish, the beauty, as the winner here, although they really are apples and oranges. And I wouldn't pass up either one of them. But when I'm done with the Craigallachie 13, I probably won't replace it. Maybe in time, I might want to try the Craigallachie 17, and then in time, maybe the 23. But the Clynelish, I would buy this again, and I have bought it again. I found a couple of bottles for $50 each, and I grabbed them. I thought that was one hell of a buy. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's show, and if you like it, please click the thumbs up, like, and subscribe, please, and consider becoming a Patreon with the link in the description below. And remember, no matter how good it is or how much it costs, it's just whiskey, folks. So hats off to you all, and take care.